We put out a clip that said, I'm not offended, are you offended? And we just assume that the people who are watching those clips know the show, maybe just wanted to see the segment. What I realized is there are a lot of people on that channel who are just like, what is this show?
Wait, what do you mean you put out a clip? It
So
was
we clipped
who's
it
saying
out.
it? Oh,
was
we
clipped
clipped out that part.
of us, not that particular part, but when we all hashed it out afterwards when Makuga came back. So on that channel, on the Pocket channel, there's a lot of clip outs, and we've continued to do that. And one of the ones that I've really been seeing a lot of responses to is when we talked about the Ronda Rousey stuff that was going on. And I kept asking.
Was her getting booed?
Her getting booed, the fans not accepting her. But there's another thing that I want to talk about, and this is just because of, and it goes back to the Schmodown stuff where, you see how I think so far in advance as far as like where storylines need to go, and this person needs to win. If this person wins, if this person loses, then we have to write the story this way. And there's just all these different things that happen.
So this was what was so confusing to me, though. So are you saying that Stephanie McMahon wrote the knee part
but
of
this is the difference with wrestling. The difference between Schmodown has like the UFC element to where someone can clipped in the jaw, and my whole narrative goes away because that person loses, then I don't get the storyline I want.
Yeah, we've talked about it Q&As where fans will ask Christian, they're like, have you ever had something happen in a match where it didn't go the way you thought it would, so you had to adjust the storyline? And Christian's like, all the time, because you literally don't know who's going to win any given match. So in his head, he's thinking, well, if it goes this way, then this and this and this. But if it goes this way, then that and that
Right.
and that.
How about when Andrew Guy beat two of the best players of all time? I'm sure you didn't see that coming.
But I was prepared more for Riley because he had just done it against Dan. So when he did it against Dan, I always talk about it like, you see my face in that match.
It's hysterical
And
to
yeah,
watch.
I am literally watching the.
I'm announcing for like 5 minutes straight
by yourself
because he's just in the clouds.
Because I'm watching because my whole point was to have Sam Levine versus Dan in a big live event, and I was watching that awning just burn because and I normally always have two situations of where it's going to go, but I was like, well, there's no way he's going to beat Dan, but if he does, this could happen, and then shame on me. But anyway, the point is, wrestling does not have to worry about that. Wrestling can say
because wrestling can fix the
Wrestling-
matches.
But they do with injuries. Legitimate injuries.
Yes. Now you're right. When injuries happen with wrestling, they have to maneuver and figure stuff out. And that's kind of what happened. Becky Lynch is like their biggest star now. Becky Lynch is like their Stone Cold Steve Austin, and it was unexpected. They weren't planning for her to go over the way that she did. But the fans have been responding to her, love her. She came out as a heel. They wanted the fans to boo her. The fans did not. The more and more dastardly things she did, the more and more the crowd cheered, and she became like an anti-hero. And then she was
a Robin Hood,
more or less. And right now, the WWE is booking terribly. They're not listening to the fans, and last night was a clear testament to that.
So what happened last night?
Stephanie McMahon on Raw, basically Becky Lynch came out. There's like a knee injury, which is not a real knee injury, but inside of the story it is.
That was not a great limp that she put on.
No, it's not the best. But Stephanie McMahon saying, okay, look, you're not going to. She won the Royal Rumble, so she's allowed to play Ronda Rousey for the championship at WrestleMania.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, that's the match every fan wants to see, but the WWE doesn't want that. The WWE wants to give Ric Flair's daughter a shot as well because she's legacy. It's Ric Flair's great wrestler, phenomenal. She's been champion a bunch of times, and she's great. She had a great match with Ronda Rousey, but people want to see Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey. That's the match everyone wants to see, but now the WWE is shoehorning this stupid triple threat.
So you think because nepotism? You think that they're just trying to give their dues to Flair?
There's a legacy thing to it for sure, and she's also a fantastic wrestler.
She is amazing.
She's fantastic, and she sells, and the match with Ronda Rousey was great. But they want her in it, and they're pushing more towards a Flair versus Ronda Rousey thing. But now that Becky Lynch has maneuvered her way in, they're just like they kind of have to put her in, right? And it's like, no, listen to the fans, watch where the wave is going, and make that your match. You're going to have a headlining match between two women which you've never had, Rousey versus Lynch for the title. By the way, Lynch is going to win that match, no matter who it is. She's going to win the title, but. They're going to have all three of them. It's a stupid move. It should not be a triple threat. This is the WWE once again not listening to the fans. They did the same thing with Roman Reigns. They just push.
So this whole doctor thing is made up. Just to do that.
They're finding a way to get Charlotte Flair in because they basically said we need to find her an opponent. Okay, yeah, they're going to find her an opponent and they're going to put Charlotte Flair in there. It's going to be triple threat. And the stupidest thing is because their other champion on the other side is a woman named Asuka. She had a great match with Flair last year, and Flair won. Have them fight again. Have those two matches. You have two big matches, Asuka versus Flair, and then Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey. The women's division in wrestling right now, it's the most entertaining.
Fire.
Oh, it's the best thing that wrestling has going for it. Because I have, like I said, I was a big fan up until I was working there. Then I stopped working there, and I wasn't a fan for a long time. Then, because of the Schmodown in like 2016, I started tuning in again for like researches and started to learn the characters and everything. But I don't believe that the writing has been very good. I think that the stuff with the women is incredible. And from where it was 10 years ago to where it is now, they're leading the charge. And you are doing yourself an incredible disservice by doing this silly-ass triple threat
I would
match.
just ask if it's just a question of whether they're not listening to the fans or not, because it seems like once you get to that level of wrestling that there's a lot of behind-the-scenes contractual obligations that you may have to fulfill that your hands are kind of tied. So it's like, well, according to this contract, this person has to be in some sort of title match. And so we can't, so we have to find a way to maneuver that, because if not, we're not honoring that sort of contract.
That's not how Vince does it.
Do you think it's kind of the same thing about how like people say Happy Holidays instead of Christmas?
It's close.
It's very similar to that, honestly. Some people are just a little sensitive.
Vince runs the show, man. That's what Vince wants to do, and Vince wants to have. I've been hearing behind the scenes stuff about.
Then why isn't Vince listening?
Because he's Vince McMahon. He knows. Look, Roman Reigns for a long time. They kept pushing Roman Reigns over and over and over again, putting him in the main event. The fans would boo him unmercifully. They kept putting him in the main event because Vince believes that he's done it for so long. He knows what works, and that the triple threat, this is what everybody wants. They don't want it. Becky Lynch is the biggest star that I've seen in wrestling since, maybe since John Cena. She is a big star right now. The fans love her. And it's like, capitalize on that. Now they're doing this silly, they're trying to recreate Stone Cold versus Vince back in the day with Stephanie and Becky. That's what they're going to do, and it's going to lead to this stupid-ass triple threat match. Just dumb.